So again, this is for the recording. So basically, here is what you are going to be doing this week. Is you're going to make a notification. For my purposes for this week, let me bring up Unity Hub. So I made a new project. I'm probably going to jump back down to one of these other. I believe we've talked about preprocess. We talked about preprocessor directors in the Game Simulation 1 class. I've brought this back up here again because the way that we are going to do our work is there's going to be platform dependent code. There is, so one of the things that we're going to bring in is there is a mobile notification package. Let me just bring up the example here. Make this bigger. So essentially what I've got here is basically a simple interface here where I've got a button that goes send notification. Gentlemen? And if you look over this way, can someone get the front lights, please? I've got what that interface right here. I press the send notification button. And you just heard my phone go off. And you can see that I've got the little lion in the corner, blah, blah. You know, the image that I just showed you. So that image came from my phone, I think 2 days ago. So this is what we're doing. So basically, I think I put it on the main camera of all things. Yeah, so I've got basically, for our purposes, basically 3 variables here. 5 seconds, how long it delays before it sends a notification, because you schedule the notification. The notification title, my title goes here, and you saw blah, 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 blah. Cool. So those are the basic big pieces. The thing that I do want to bring up, is when we bring up the project window, I've got these 2 assets. So I've given you 2 assets. The big thing about what we need to do is that with these 2 assets, we need to go turn on under advanced the read write the tab. So that needs to be somehow, and I don't understand why. It's just how the mobile thing is set up. The other thing that we had to do to set this up was under project settings, there is a section for mobile notifications. So when we bring in the mobile notification package, this is going to bring. We had to set a small icon and a large icon for our purposes, and this is the identifier. It's a string. The thing about the icon, about the notifications, is that this is stupid and it's not noted here, but you can't use capital letters in the ID. And when you do, the build fails for no apparently good reason whatsoever. And when that happens, you've got to go into like 4 or 5 different folders. You'll get multiple notifications, the errors that this has failed, this has failed, this failed, this failed because of that reason. And you've got to go into like 4 or 5 different folders, and they're like deep into. I'm actually gonna do it once. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do this once to show. Do I want to show it? Know that you're gonna have to go into it's when. You'll get the notification. It'll say this is where it is. There'll be like 4 or 5 of them that you have to take out. for each one of these that you know, and if you've done like 3 or 4 icons and they've got each of them has a capital letter, that will fail. It's something that should be added here. You know, icons must be blah 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 about this. No smaller, may contain colors, because white pixels on a transparent background. Only icon manipulated to the res folder can use for notifications. Yeah, I mean that's. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those issues here. It's not the greatest. Like again, if you go and try and fix it, the existing file still stays. Is the issue. It doesn't remove. Like if I make a, you know, again, use capital L in the large icon, and then change it, it doesn't remove the files that it created in the previous build, which is not the best. It should know better, but doesn't. It's one of those scenarios. But anyways, again, we're looking at small icons of 48 by 48, and white pixels on a transparent background, and large icons no smaller than 192 by 192 and may contain colors. All right, I have written one, again, I put it on the main camera. This button basically calls a function that will open up Visual Studio. Hooray, Visual Studio, you are good in Unity. So I did not do the issue that I'm dealing with right now is that I didn't actually use the preprocessor directives, and I should have. This is one of the things I probably need to go back and actually fix. But the first 2 things that you're going to be using is Unity Notifications Android, and this comes with the notification package that we're going to import. And then Unity Engine.Android is the other one, is that we're going to use. First is that the permissions is a class in that Unity Android. And so the first thing you've got to do is ask if the user, let me bring this out, ask if the user has permission to post notifications. Sorry. Ask if the application has permission from the user to post unit notifications. This is just by this right here. It won't actually show. I didn't actually have to actually give like actual permission. One of the things that's going to go on behind the scenes, and I know you can't see there, is that there are some scenarios where you will use a API, and Unity is saying that behind the scenes they're going to handle the permission. There's what's called the app manifest, and that's where the permissions are asked for. And out of the box, Unity has actually has gone in and actually added to the app manifest for me already when I build to have asked for permissions. And on my phone, I didn't have to give explicit permission for notifications. But like for like the camera, the microphone, these are all things that are in play. You have to set up a Android notification channel, and this is basically setting up a generic notification channel for your purposes. Importance default, channel ID, default channel. Again, this is a generic, and they set up this variable, which it actually should be Android notification channel. Again, they're using the var variable. Actually, they are actually using the so this is actually what the code should look like without using the var. But the big thing here is that they are initializing that object. Is it I'm gonna have to see if it's a struct, but they're actually initializing the object itself using this structure. And this works. I don't have a need for any specific. I mean, I can go in and change. I could probably change the ID and the name, description, generic notifications, and this would be like, hey, this is notifications for this. My goal is basically, and there are multiple types of notifications that you can do. You can schedule them pretty far out and whatnot. But the big thing here is that we're just like, hey, I'm not pushing the extent of what notifications can do. Again, one of the things that you'll look at in the documentation is that you can provide information, like when you send the notification, you can provide information that bring back to your application. So let's take like Peacock, for example, which is a NBC's streaming service, or Disney Plus. They actually, when they can send out, both of them actually, and I bring up these two because they both they provide on their platform now have Premier League and the Championship, the FA Cup, which is so we're talking about British soccer right now. And so they both stream soccer matches on their platforms. And both have sent me notifications saying, hey, there's this match going on. Manchester United is up against Swansea or whatever. And when I press on that notification, it brings me to their application, but specifically brings me to that specific event. So I don't have to go through their menus to get to the soccer game. It's going to bring me right to the soccer game. So this is basically just setting up. You need a notification channel, and it needs to get registered. And then down here, again, this is just basically should be Android notification. So I have a function called make notification. And literally the issue, what we're doing here is basically setting up a structure. We're using the default, and this is literally, I know you haven't seen the new operator often, but that's creating a new object. In C#, if you're creating a new object in pure C# code, you're using the new operator. We don't use the new operator in Unity often because we use instantiate, because that instantiate is a factory function essentially. It's setting up a game object for our purposes within Unity. So underneath the hood, it's doing the new operator or it's setting things up underneath the hood for us. So we don't have to use the new operator. In fact, if you did like a new operator on a game object, it would yell about that. So basically, the things that we want to set is notification title. Again, I've set this as a string. Again, notification title, notification text, seconds delay. And I've gone in, and it's basically the big things is what is the title of it, what is the text of it, the small icon, the large icon. So these are the icons with the notice, and then the fire time. When should it kick off? And for us, again, I'm doing 5 seconds because this is a test. But ultimately, this could be days from now. It could be a day from now. It could be an hour from now. I know that, like in the example in the code example, they actually do add minutes. Like they wait a minute. I'm not going to wait. This is why we're using seconds, and it's a 5 second delay, because I'm not going to wait a minute for testing purposes. Yep.
Would it still send the message if the app wasn't running in the background?
Yeah, it should, because this is going to the Android Notification Center, which is an Android. So we're registering the notification to happen on our device, which should happen later on. Yeah.
So this is why I keep getting notifications for apps
yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because those notifications were scheduled on your device before you closed it. And we can test that if we want. I can go put a high level of delay and then close the app. We can do that. We can do that later. But essentially, you are then sending the notification and then the channel ID. If you note, this sends back in an integer, and this is essentially it's returning back. It's your receipt. Essentially, this is your receipt for this notification is 5555555. So it's an ID. It's an ID number that you get back from it. So if you need to do something with the notification later on, you could do so. I am just scratching the surface. There is a GitHub repo with notification examples. The only problem is the code is set up with the old input system, in the input manager, which is now disabled. So if you were to actually go use it, you'd have to go back through it. And either enable the back end to use the old system or write new code for it, and they've got more examples how to use notifications there. My goal is I've shown you all the code that you need to do for this assignment. Like, I'm not asking you to do, again, if we go into the API for notifications, under Android, we've got manage notifications, how to send a simple notification, how to set icons, and the notification ID. You can either track, cancel, and update the notification. So you can schedule, update, schedule notification. You can check if it's been delivered. Check send notification. You can set your own ID specifically. Notification callback. So basically there is a notification intent data. And this is going through notification data ID, title, text, channel. So you can send it information. Store and retrieve custom data. Here's the new again, notification intent data. So you can actually give it data. Again, if it's a user task to open the app, you can get notification, receive data assigned to it like the example below. And you can probably give it more data if you wanted to. You could probably give it something, add something to it, and then, hey, I'm going to go back to this, open this event. And then this is the event ID or the string. Again, there's an iOS version of it. So this is why we would wrap our code. Because if you wanted to, you'd keep the same build. It's structurally the same build for both platforms. Basically, run this code, run that code. Again, a great way to handle something in the code like that is that here is make notification. I'm just going to go in and so here's make notification Android, and we would then call make notification Android here. Oh, I see it now. There we go. And then we would wrap this code. But ideally, we would then, we would have another version, make Android, iOS. And I'm gonna so we would have basically here is, let me just set this up correctly. There we go. So here's the Android version of the function. Here's the iOS version of the function. And then, basically this function right here is basically calling the correct function. Again, this would be, hey, if here we go, Unity Android. And if Unity Iowa. And this is why I gave you this document right here, because there we go. So I've wrapped this correctly between the two. And you can see this is grayed out because we are under the, our structure right now is basically, it's set for an Android build with Unity right now. But here we go. This is how you would go about, and even still, I would probably even, so even still, I'd wrap those functions as well, so that we're only writing code for the platform that we need. Because like the iOS stuff is not going to run on, those packages are not going to be on the Android package, the Android platform. And let's grab this one more time. Again, I want to. So this is again good practice in terms of platform code. We know that at some point you'll probably port this to the iOS. Why aren't we doing it? Because Apple's a pan behind in terms of how you do that. Like if you can do this with Android, you can pick up the iOS stuff pretty easily and deal with Apple's baloney. Yeah, I mean, pretty much I've shown you everything you need to know to get this done. Again, there is this page right here, which is going to give you more information. Basically gone through. Again, the only thing I've changed is rather than using var, I've actually said Android, actually use the class name, what you should be doing. Are any questions for me here in the classroom? Any questions for me in Discord? I got one, Joseph.
I kind of forgot the whole hashtag if and if. Can you just?
Yeah. So these are called preprocessor directives. Here, go back. These are preprocessor directives. So basically, this is saying that if this is defined somewhere, this code is going to run. This code is actually going to be compiled, I should say. We're basically sorting out code that. So again, remember, anything that we want to do, if anything that we want to do within the editor, we need to make sure that's within a preprocessor directive for the editor, because when we make a build for standalone build, there's no editor.
Okay.
That's not part of the Unity engine itself. It's another package altogether. So that was the original way we used it. Here we're isolating code that is specifically for Android. So like this notifications Android, not available on iOS for obvious reasons. Same thing with Unity Engine Android, that not available on iOS. So basically we want to basically have this code here for the specific platform that it is going to run on. Like right now, I've got like as things, on the PC, when this runs, it's going to call this function, and it won't see this, it won't see that, so it's going to do nothing. Be like it's basically now this has now become so on PC this function is now an empty function.
Yeah, so that's where the confusion was. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. I'm going to end the recording right here. I do have a question for the class before